guys are beautiful, and happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
I got a text message today saying happy Resurrection Day. So I'd like to talk about that. Just a little bit about my background. Many of you know I was a therapist for many years working for the county in Las Vegas. My doctorate is in metaphysics. So I'm a metaphysical pastor. What does that mean? That means that I talk a lot about energy, vibration, because we're all energy based on physics. And in the Bible, in the Bhagavad Gita, in all the major religions, they talk about energy, and that light is that energy of God. And so you'll hear me talk about that today, and I just want you to know where that's coming from, and I'll try to explain it as best as I can in the limited amount of time that we have together, because I'm going to be talking about something that Western culture doesn't really talk about, we avoid, and that's death. It's a heavy subject. Don't talk about it. We know somebody's going to be, but we don't, let's keep it light. Don't we do that in our culture? We don't talk about death. We don't prepare people for the end of this physical structure that we have. One Sunday I called it a meat suit. So we have a meat suit, but inside of us is something awesome. That is the light of God. That is the energy field that keeps us going. And so what I want to talk about today is that energy field that's within each and every one of us, that doesn't die. So in physics, if you know anything about physics, things cannot be destroyed. They transform into something else. For example, water. You take water, you put it on the stove, it's going to turn into what? Steam. The water doesn't go away, it changes form. If you freeze it, it turns into a solid. That liquid water didn't go away, it transformed into something else. So if you think about our physical structure and this life that you see in front of you, it will one day transform into something else. You will transform into something else, but that does not mean that you die. But we're taught in this culture that we die and that we are no more. And so when someone does transition, cross over, we think that they're gone. And what I want to say to you is that is a lie. It is not true, and it is not true in science, because you have to transform into something else when you have matter. And when you have energy, it transforms into another form. So I just like to leave you with that, but also I'd like to bring up Jesus, because today we celebrate that resurrection. And he always taught that there was no death, but he prepared his disciples. He prepared the people that were closest to him. How? By living his life in love. By loving people. By loving every single aspect of what was going on. He embraced it. He didn't avoid it. He didn't run away from it. And those hard subjects he talked about. Let me talk about the Last Supper. Now, when I went to Israel not too long ago, a few years ago, they took us to this room and they said, this is where we believe the Last Supper took place. We're not sure, but this is where it is. And so I'm looking around that room and I said, well, the significance isn't really the room. The significance is that he was preparing them for what he knew was to come. So he knew that his body was not going to be there anymore. And so he knew that the people around him would be so attached to that body that they would just be in grief mode. If you know anything about chakras, the heart chakra, when you are in grief mode, shuts down, and the love that's supposed to come through the love chakra turns into hate, anger, resentment, and sarcasm. Did you know that?
Could you say it again?
Yes. The love chakra, and there's 7 chakras. We won't go into them today, but the heart chakra represents Jesus' love. And when you're in grief mode, when somebody dies and you're in grief mode and you blame God or you blame somebody else and you go into this hatred, resentment mode, you shut down that very love energy that is used to change the world. So a lot of people are in grief in our culture because of that. So Jesus was preparing them because he knew he was going to cross over. He knew that he was not the meat suit, but he was everything that he was teaching. When he was with the leper and he was touching them, and he was coddling them and giving them water and washing their feet, he was showing love to the disciples. This is how you're supposed to be. So he wanted that energy, which never dies, to be with them. So the Last Supper is about Jesus preparing their heart chakra to remain open. So he said, even though my body may not be here, here's some bread. Here, take a piece of that, eat that, and this is symbolizing me, the physical me, because he knew the physical him wasn't going to be there very long. What happens when you eat food? It assimilates into your cells, and it becomes what? It becomes you. So he was symbolically saying, here, take a piece of me, take this, have me inside you, always, even though this body may not be here. This is how we need to look at death. Because the energy of that person, when we take it into the cellular structure of our body, it becomes us. Now I'm going to get a little deep right now, so hold on. If people say, you haven't gotten deep already? That wasn't deep? No. E equals mc squared. You've all heard that before. Einstein said it. Mass times the speed of light equals energy. Mass. This is mass. This meat suit is mass. Times the speed of light, that's God energy. That is God energy. God energy in me is the energy, creates the energy of love. So each person in here has that energy, has that equation inside of them. Once you take away the mass, what you have is pure light energy, pure God energy. So when that loved one dies or crosses over or passes to the other side or goes behind the veil, they're leaving that pure light behind, and it needs mass. That's where you come in. Let me say that again. So imagine that equation, E equals mc squared. When you take away the mass, you're left with pure white light of that person, because we all have that equation in us. We all have that in us. When the meat suit is no longer here, what we have is that energy. It transforms into, if we allow it in our heart chakra, it turns into us. So your loved one never dies, but we can block them from living forever when we hold on to resentment, anger, hate, criticism, all of those things that block that heart chakra. And we can't let them in, and we say, oh, I miss them, and I say, well, they're here, but you're blocking them. And they're taught that they're no longer here. I just want to dispel that. That's a lie. They are always here if we allow them to take mass within us. People are always looking at Ancestry.com. That's very popular now. We want to know what's in our DNA. Where did they come from? What were they like? Because especially in the Western culture, we don't have the story. The story doesn't continue. Many of us don't know our great-great-grandparents because the story never continued. We never kept up the story, but there are other cultures that keep up the story. You can talk to somebody from Africa and they'll say, who are you? And they'll go maybe 5 generations back.
Wow, that's great.
That's great, isn't it? Well, we've lost that. Why have we lost that? Because we don't talk about death? It's hurtful, it's painful.
Yeah.
We're not going to bring that in. Yeah, we don't talk about that, And so young people learn not to ask questions about it. We've got to go on the computer. Ancestry.com. Who was this guy? But here's the thing. We have nothing to fear in this life. This is about living our life in love. That's how you prepare people for your transition from the meat suit. And you say, everything that I'm doing in this life, everything that you see me doing, how I treat other people, hold on to that. Hold on to those attributes. Pamela, you lost your mom?
Yes.
Now, look at how I said that, lost. Don't we use that word, lost?
Yeah.
You didn't lose your mom. Your mom's body is no longer here, but everything that your mom is still there. It's still right there, and it found a mass to go to because our heart is open, right?
Yeah.
My son lost his dad about a year ago, sudden heart attack. But there was so much emotion there. Why did this happen? What's going on? I didn't have control over this. I didn't have any last words. All of that can build up into the heart chakra and block you from that person coming in. As time goes by and his heart begins to chip away, he has the sensation of that energy finding mass within himself. All of those wonderful qualities are right there. He is a reflection of his dad. Not only does he look like his dad, but he has the same mannerisms as his dad. And now he's able to take in all of those experiences that he had, not as grief, because that blocks the heart chakra, but as joy. I had that person in my life for that amount of time. I had these experiences that I can count on. And when you open your heart chakra, that energy goes in and it has mass and they live forever in that person. And then you share the story of them. And as you share the story of them, other people can carry it also. So that's why other cultures make a big deal out of ancestors. And we're beginning to, with the help of a computer, with the help of other people finding out who they are and having a joy that they find, an increased joy. But we need to learn from these other cultures. This was healing for them to have that ancestor still be a part of their DNA and their mindset. And you take in that energy even though the body is not around. And Jesus knew this. He knew that they could get caught up in the body. And he wanted to make sure that I am not this. I am everything that you saw me do. I am everything that came out of my mouth. I am every time I embraced you, that was me. And you can take that with you always. So when he came back to them, after crossing over, after getting down from the cross, do you know he came back to them? This is in the Bible, where it says that they were in a room. They didn't know what to do with themselves. And they had to loosen that heart chakra so that they could let in the spirit of who Jesus was. And that's how they got the courage, because he was brave. That's how they got the wisdom, because he was smart, to go forward and do exactly what he did. They had to have that energy in them to do that. Do you know that the reason, gonna get deeper, the reason that we have these people in our lives is so that we can move forward and do and be the people that we're supposed to be? It's not based on their body. It's based on that energy that you allow into your heart. that no one is here accidentally. They are here for a reason, for a period of time, for you to open up that heart chakra, let them in while they're living or when they cross over. It doesn't matter. Whenever your evolution takes place, there's no wrong or right in it, but just know that it's part of the process. It's the circle of life.
Good.
Speaking of the circle of life, this first song is from The Lion King.
Oh, The Lion King.
Yeah, don't you love that show, the Broadway show, the movie? My son would watch it all the time when he was younger. And basically, The Lion King is about the king, which is the lion, teaching his young son, Simba, that there is a circle of life. And he shows him love, understanding, leadership, wisdom while he's on the planet in a physical body. But then, of course, you know the story, he crosses over. And when Simba's heart is full of resentment, hate, guilt, shame, it can't let in the love and the energy that his dad had. And so finally he does, and this is the song that explains it.
Night and the spirit of life calling Mamila, and a voice with the fear of a child asking, oh Mamila,
oh, because my car call. There's no mountain too great. Hear these words and have faith. Oh, have faith.
they live in you, they live in me, they're watching over everything we see, in every creature, in every star, in your reflection, they live in you.
Great. So who lives in you? You know, that light of God lives in you. When that person's physical body is no longer here, that's an awesome opportunity to have that energy that is God, that is in them, flow into a heart that is open, and they live in you. In your DNA, they're a part of you. Jesus said, take this bread, it's me. You'll have me with you always. I've got to give you a symbol because you don't understand. He said, take this, drink this is my blood. I remember growing up, I said, what does that mean? But it comes through revelation, what it means. When you come up higher in who you truly are, these things are revealed. And it says, you are pure energy, you are pure me. When your heart is open, I rush in. When your heart is open, that other person doesn't go away. You don't lose them. They live in you. Always. Isn't that much more comforting? Doesn't that ring true to your spirit? Because you know this. I'm just reminding you. We've been dummied down. We've been told a bunch of lies. That's okay. We're evolved now. They don't work the same way.
Thank you.
They don't have the same power. The truth will set you free. Take a deep breath. Let's go into a meditation. We are just so grateful right now that we have the opportunity to learn about who we are. We have the opportunity to accept new versions of ourselves. How powerful we are. We are pure love energy that has taken shape and form, and we recognize that this form and this light shows us that we always need to go in the direction of love. And if we stumble, if we don't, we always have the opportunity to look in the mirror and see the reflection of love. That energy never dies. We can always come up higher, always recognize that there is no death. There is only light. And we are all light. Let's take a deep breath. we take a deep breath. Cleansing out old thoughts. And we only support the light that is within us. Letting go of everything that is not in alignment with the light. We continue this process, knowing who we are. We let it be so, and so it